One thing I see a lot of, especially in the corporate world of video, is a lack of enthusiasm about syncing cameras or doing anything of the sort in terms of making it easy in post-production. I don't know why people avoid this. I don't know if it's this thing that like maybe they think that these things are only needed or reserved for the higher end movie or TV productions. But if there's one thing that's important, it's to make sure that your cameras are in sync and that you have an easy way to know what the heck they actually recorded, what it actually is. Now, there's a few things you can do, and they're really easy. The first and foremost thing is buy a slate or a clapperboard. You know, the thing that goes like that? That's what you want to buy. Get one of those because then you can write on it. You can say exactly what you're recording and you can mark so that you can hopefully sync your camera A, your camera B, and likely your audio. You're going to have all three and you can sync them all up to that mark. If you don't have that, you can have someone clap their hands, but that feels a little bit cheap. It's certainly something I've done in a pinch when there hasn't been a slate on hand, but you should definitely have a slate. They're not that expensive. You can find them for like 30 bucks, I think. I'll even put a link in the description so you can go find one and buy one right now if you don't have one. If you do have one, good for you. Make sure you fill it out and put all the information on there, even if it feels redundant, even if you are the one editing. Guess what? You're going to have to come back to that footage in 6 months or a year. You might not remember what your frame rate was. You might not remember what camera you recorded with. You maybe don't remember who the producer was. So put that information on there. Put everything, fill it all in so that you have it for yourself or for someone else who may be editing later. Now, the other key ingredient in all of this is that when you record on your camera A, let's say camera A, camera B, and your audio, do it all around the same time. Don't start recording on camera A and then start recording on camera B 5 minutes later, and then your audio 5 minutes after that. That doesn't help. That's a pain to figure out what lines up with what in post-production. Cut it out. Start and stop them all around the same time. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to do some kind of, two keys, turn them at the exact same time, do a countdown, but you do have to do it relatively in sync with one another. It just makes it easier for you or whoever is editing. The other main thing about this is if you got the slate and you're ready to roll on your cameras, only start rolling when the slate is in frame. That makes it really easy because in the first frame of your footage, you have all the information you need to know. You have the camera, you have the day, you have what take it is, who's on camera. All the stuff that you need to know is right there, right in front of your face in the very first frame. If you don't do that, then you got to scrub. And if you scrub through the footage, who knows when the slate pops up? Maybe it's 3 minutes later, they finally put the slate in. You got to find that time code, rematch it up with the beginning. That's a hassle. In all of this, you likely want to make sure you're recording the same number of clips on your cards between cameras and audio if possible. That's not always 100% going to happen. You're likely going to have some B-roll shots or something that gets filmed a little bit more with one camera, or you don't have as many audio tracks. That's fine, but when possible, make sure you're recording in a sequential order and that you're recording around the same amount of tracks for both cameras so it's easy in post-production. Now, if you do all that, it should be really easy to get all that stuff synced in post-production, and then you know what the clips are. You can even go and do some logging on the clips, and you can rename stuff if you want. I personally don't always do that because a lot of times it can be a waste of time, but hey, if you want to do that, then it's really easy to do that. Now, maybe you are an editor. Tell your camera people to do this. I think it might come from this idea that like it feels pretentious or that it feels like extra work to do on set. Who cares? Just do it. It's so easy. It's like, why try and fix it in post-production when you can just get it right on the spot? Put all that information right there so it's ready to go, and so that you don't kill yourself later or someone else gets really frustrated at you when they have to do a whole bunch of extra work when you could have just spent the 2 seconds to hold up a clapboard and mark your takes. Now, as far as when to cut, again, I like to cut roughly around the same time between all the cameras and audio devices. Not as important, but it usually is definitely a more ideal in that situation where you cut at the same time because then you have clips that are all roughly about the same length. So it's pretty easy to see what matches up with what. You can see your camera A, your camera B, your camera C, however many cameras you have, your audio tracks, however many audio tracks you have, and then you can match it all up. And it's really nice and really simple and really easy. If you streamline that process, it makes post-production so much smoother, so much easier, and you'll thank me later. Now, if you have been doing this, awesome, great, good for you. Spread the word because I still see a lot of people who don't do this. And I don't know, they think they're running the audio to the camera so they don't need to. I don't care. Maybe something went wrong. Maybe the audio internally got out of sync for whatever reason. The camera bugged out. Just slate, do your thing. Spend the few extra, it's not, I want to say seconds, but it likely is probably an extra minute just to take the time to do it. But do it. It is well worth it, and you will thank me later.